Welcome to Quickshots. Hello, welcome to Quickshots. And I may say, not to make you nervous or anything, Jolie, but a very special edition of Quickshots. I think we've done something in the 70s or 80 episodes of Quickshots before, where it's usually 3 or 4 questions, and we have never had a guest on Quickshots. But you graced a lovely article the other week. You had your arms crossed, your pipes blazing, and I thought, as a first home buyer article, I thought, we got to get you on, Jolie. Sorry, introduce yourself to the people.
Get me while I'm on my media run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm privileged to be here, Alex. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
First podcast. No better place to do it on the Double. So.
Absolutely. I call you Petter, JP, Jolie. Like, what do your friends actually call you?
Jolie is the predominant name.
There's
Petter originated from you, so
yeah, okay.
I don't get that anywhere else.
I'm sure that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Jolie is the community reference.
Community reference. No, like you don't have like a footy trip thing that no one would actually know how it relates to your name?
No, not really. No, Jolie, I sort of went, as a kid I had Jolie, and then I kind of grew out of it. I thought it was a bit of a baby name, and it's really made a comeback in the last few years.
Very cute. Sorry, producer Nick's correcting me. Quickshots episode 80, and this is a very special drop, and I'm not talking about that 2002 vintage wine. Very special drop. Okay, Jolie, that's what I'll stick to.
Jolie.
Now, we wanted to bring you on Quickshots because we got a lot of first home buyers or prospective first home buyers that listen to the show. You were recently, in the last 12 months or so, I'll let you iron out the details, a first home buyer. Mm-hmm. Let's start with, what did you buy?
So I bought a 4-bedroom house in Homeview. Homeview is about 30 minutes south of Brisbane CBD, about 40 minutes north of the Gold Coast. Sits about sort of 4 kilometres in off the M1. Just a little 4-bedroom house on a 368 square metre block.
How much?
So I paid $443,500. Very specific, but I remember those numbers well, being my first one.
You should. When did you contract that though, so we can get a bit of context, because that sounds cheap.
So context, I was a little bit late on the home builder grant, so I think that wrapped up in about April of last year, and I went to contract in August, so I missed out on that $25,000.
Oh.
But so I went to contract in August. It's a bit of a wet summer, so I didn't actually settle that block until the 23rd of December, so 2 days before Christmas. Good little early Christmas present.
Jeez.
And took ownership then, and started the build in about June this year. So yeah, there was about a 5-month sort of lag there where we couldn't get trades and materials on site, but now the build is well and truly underway, and hoping to be in there for Christmas this year.
Wowza. Okay, so I'll come back to bit more of those details in a moment, why there was that delay, and I guess you can run us through all of that. Very good reason to tell all your friends and family that you weren't buying Christmas presents that particular year.
Yes.
and this year actually the same, because you'll be fully drawn down and living in the thing.
Bit of P&I.
That's right. I won't expect anything, no worries. Why did you buy in Homeview is my first question.
So for me, it was more so probably borrowing capacity. So I went and sat with the bank and had my borrowing capacity assessed. Regardless of deposit, the max I could borrow was $440.
Okay.
Being in the midst of home builder, land prices were starting to rise, build prices were on the increase as well. $440 was where I was capped at. So I sort of started searching for land that would still allow me a little bit of room there to obviously build as well. Working on the Gold Coast, living on the Gold Coast, I wanted to sort of stay within proximity of the Gold Coast, because I still want my life to sort of revolve around here. So Homeview, at the time I bought my block for $230,000, which allowed me about $210,000 to find a build. I was maxed at $440. I couldn't go a cent over. My bank broker was pretty strict on that. So I managed to find a build 4-bedroom house, 190 square meters for $213,000.
Oh my God.
$213,500. So that extra $3,500 on top of my borrowing capacity, I had to chip in. My bank wouldn't give me a cent more, so maxed it out.
Okay, so let me try to paraphrase that so that I understand. So you knew that you couldn't borrow more than 440,000.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
So you worked backwards from that, did you? You went to find a block of land first.
Yeah.
That was relatively cheap for what? 230,000?
230 I bought my land. So
Okay.
I had to sort of, I had to probably go a little bit smaller than I typically would have liked, but that allowed me to still build a 4-bedroom house. I probably could have gone bigger in the land, but it would have had to compromise with a 3-bedroom house.
That's right.
But yeah, ideally I sort of got a smaller block of land where I was still able to get a pretty large sort of footprint, 190 square meters on it. And yeah, still sort of work within that tight borrowing capacity that as a single income, that's what I was sort of limited to.
Yes, absolutely. No, look, I mean, your borrowing capacity is that directs you, that steers the ship. So I think your process was pretty smart. You were pretty new working with us at that point. So, you what, 6 months in the job or not quite?
I was about 6 months in the job.
Okay.
And I guess I sort of saw a lot of the Homeview area and saw what was happening there and saw some of the infrastructure projects going in there. So I already kind of had my eye. And when I did get that borrowing capacity from the bank, it is one of the first areas I did look to. And
bit of insider trading.
Yeah, a little bit. But,
sort of, not really. Okay, so let's go back. You bought your block of land and then you knew how much money you had left to approach a builder. How the hell does a first home buyer, or how did you navigate this? You worked with us, but I do know, obviously having spoken to you before over a few coffees, that you didn't use a builder that we use. You wanted to do it yourself. So how did you find this builder and how did you sort of make sure that the price of didn't go over your borrowing capacity but still delivered you a 4-bedroom?
It was a pretty challenging sort of process. I sat with pretty much all the big builders. I sat with Metricon, I sat with Plantation Homes, sat with GJ Gardner. Many hours in their sales offices going through the process with their sales consultants, getting down to every last detail. And I sort of just sort of priced out of some of them big builders, and at the time it was obviously Home Builder. We were sort of starting to see that first wave of increases in build prices. Yeah. And I just found I was pushed out by a lot of them big builders. They didn't really want to sort of take on such a job with such a tight sort of constraint on pricing. Yeah. A lot of their variations they probably upsell you in. I was just not interested in. I couldn't afford. So I ended up going with a local builder. Yep. Sort of medium mid-size, does about 100 builds a year.
What did you say? Like, did you say, I want a fixed price, blah, 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 and this price? Like, how did you approach them? How did you do that? Yeah, I pretty much, I at that stage, I had my block under contract. So I had all my disclosures there, the building covenants, all the sort of engineering documents, and I would just take that to them and just say, "Yep, do you have a four bedroom sort of floor plan that can fit on this? Yes. If so, can you do it for this price?" Yes. Luckily, they were sort of able to come to the table a little bit outside of the 210 budget that I had at 213 500, risque. But I mean, it was a really, really nice floor plan that I liked. It was 2 living rooms and an office as well. And I checked with Logan City Council website at the time, and the second living room is actually able to be converted into a 5th bedroom. So I really liked their floor plan for that as well. Jeez, you really, thought about this. As soon as we sort of had that quote in, I was pretty quick to sign it up. And yeah, by then I had my land and my build signed up, and it was just waiting for that land to title so the build could start. Nice. Okay, so how did you know, or how did you ensure that you were getting a fixed price build contract, or did you make any mistakes there, or I might be skipping ahead a little bit, but how did you sort of ensure that, or not? Look, it's probably one of my honest mistakes along the way was not having someone look over my build contract. Probably got a bit carried away. It was a 63-page document, and I thought I'd be able to sort of go through the legal jargon myself. One thing I was sort of caught out with there was with the bow rating. So that's bushfire. Homeview, where I chose to build, has got the lowest of bow ratings, but there is a bow rating that applies, which means some of the building materials that are used in that house need to be compliant. Sort of need to be like a little bit more fire resistant. And the average Joe wouldn't even know what a bow rating is, or if they understand it after Googling it, how do you quantify it into what it's going to add to your build? Yeah, well, exactly. And I thought by sort of,
compiling all the engineering documents and giving that to my builder, I thought that that's something that they would have taken into consideration.
Yeah.
However, later in the piece, I did find that one of their clauses in the build contract is that they don't allow for a bow rating. If there is bow rating applicable to that build, then it is then added as a variation at the end.
Okay.
And that caught me out to the scope of about 7,000. So
okay. So all right. So take us back to your key learnings. There seems to be some on the build. Were there also some on the land and the purchasing process? What were your key learnings that you are very happy to share with first home buyers on the pod?
I mean, probably one of my learnings is get a hold of every grant you can that's available to you at the time. That's something that I was quite proud of, I guess, was that I sort of did the research there and probably maximised every grant available at the time. Mm-hmm. Two of the main ones is the first home loan deposit scheme, which allows first home buyers to purchase their property on a 5% deposit with no LMI.
Amazing.
CommBank, who I originally went through in the first place, they ran out of their allocation. So each lender gets allocated a certain amount of spots. CommBank, who was my preferred lender, they had already used their allocation, so I had to look elsewhere. Ended up going through NAB, who still had some allocation there. I was able to get in on the 5% deposit scheme, which for a 440 build was about sort of 22,000. As well as that, I was able to use the first home deposit. The first home loan owners grant, one of the other ones.
First home buyers grant.
First home buyers grant.
Like the 10 grand or whatever it is.
So that was another 15,000 from the government.
15.
So that sort of got put towards it, and no stamp duty or anything. So I got
amazing.
I got into that property for sort of just over 22,000, and
of your own cash?
Yeah, of my own cash.
Oh, yeah, cool. I forgot to ask you that question. That's good. And then, so how much did you get in government grants?
So I got the 15,000 from the government, and
15%.
Obviously no LMI as well, which was pretty beneficial.
Yep.
So
basically a lot of money.
Yeah, it was good. I think if I hadn't have been sort of so diligent with those schemes that are available, which many people that I speak to don't seem to be aware of what assistance is there to help get you into a property. If I hadn't been so diligent with that, I probably wouldn't have considered home ownership as a possibility.
Right.
However, once you see that you can get into a $500,000 house for the best part of 20,000, you realise that it's affordable.
I think what's amazing too is that you got both of the grants. A lot of people probably assume that they can only get one. We actually can get both. I don't know if that's exactly the same today, and it probably varies state by state, but they want first home buyers to buy and they want new homes to be built. So as you've probably found out, they want to stimulate those new homes to increase the supply.
I think the schemes are in place for people like me that probably wouldn't be in a position to buy without them. And I think with that assistance, then you may as well take them up on it.
Epic. So key lessons?
Yeah, so key lessons, be diligent with the build contract. Probably pay for legal advice just to have someone read through it. That way you don't get caught out on the other end. What else? Choose your area carefully. It's probably... Anything
on like the build at all? Like did you have to, I think a lot of first home buyers forget that it's not they're going to be their dream home, and like did you feel like you had to compromise anything maybe, or like should you have compromised something in your build? Like a second living room? I don't know. I'm pulling things out of nowhere.
Don't know. I tried to maximise what I could get. I probably would have considered compromising some things if I couldn't fit that into sort of to my limitations, but I think I tried to sort of get the best bang for my buck and maximise what I really could build on that sort of such a small block of land. I guess compromising where you choose to build and where you choose to live, and seeing it as more of a long-term play, not a short-term play. Like currently I live 100 metres from the beach in Broadbeach, and to pick up and sort of move to Homeview is probably not my probably not really looking forward to that. But I know long-term that property's in a strong growth area and it's going to perform well going forward. So that 1 year of going out there is it's not a bad thing.
All right, producer Nick is absolutely nudging me here. He's got 2 burning questions. Burning questions. Let's start with the bad so we can end with the good. Okay, let's end with the good. What's the worst part of being a homeowner, even though you haven't moved in the damn thing yet?
But for me,
negative, producer Nick. Jeez.
Yeah, geez. I think for me, the cost of sort of holding that property for the last 18 months is something I didn't really factor in. Like I'm a single income, I'm paying rent as well as sort of paying a mortgage and paying to build the house. So, I mean, it's a bit of a constraint on the cash flow, but I mean, you sort of factor that in and it's just less money that you can go and play with. So
maybe the worst part is like that you have to watch your funds a little bit more, be a little bit more diligent.
Yeah. I mean, it just forces you to be a bit sort of smarter and probably less disposable money that you go and be playing up with and be traveling with. But I think I've still been able to make it work. And
I mean, you did have a pretty epic 4 day or 5 days over in Queenstown recently. So I think, mate,
I'm still recovering.
Life's pretty good, still recovering. And then, of course, ending on a really optimistic, positive note, what is the best part about being a homeowner? Just as at today, it'll probably change again when you move in, but what's the best part?
Something that hit me is obviously settling the block on the 23rd of December. I wasn't there to actually go and see it, so I hadn't actually seen the block of land yet. However, just after New Year's, when I came back up to the Gold Coast, I went up there for a drive, and standing on that block of land and realizing that that's now yours is I didn't think I'd get emotional, but it kind of hit me. I know we like to think of investment properties as non-emotional, don't be emotionally attached. But I think for the first time, it was sort of hit me as a very proud moment. Proud of myself. Deal. And then going up there. Just more recently now they've started the build. I went up there and they had all the framing up and the roof was on and the walls were up and the kitchen was in, and it sort of really hit home that this is yours. Real. And it was just a proud moment. Not a very emotional person, but that hit me. So
epic, Jolie.
It's probably one of the best things. Just seeing it all come together from a block of land to a house, and soon I'll have the keys and I'll be. Hopefully, if I get it before Christmas, I'll get some furniture in the Boxing Day sales, and it'll really be home.
Ooh, we've got a little bit that we might be giving out out of the office, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Jolie, it's like seriously epic. We're all obviously exceptionally proud of you. We wish we could have helped you a little bit more in terms of your builded contracts and whatnot. But hey, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. And you're exactly right. Your first property, up until that point, you've seen money go out of your bank account. You've signed pieces of paper that you don't really understand, and then they've just all gone into cyberspace, and then you actually that's right, you're like, do I actually own something? And then you've gone out recently and you've walked through your kitchen, like unbelievable. Any last notes for the people that you would like to share at all?
Just do it. Find a way to get it done. It's a pretty rewarding process, and you might need to sacrifice some things, but I think it's all worth it in the long run.
I love it. A bit of a Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. Just do it from Joel Petter. That's right. Thanks so much for coming on Quickshots, Jolie.
Thanks, Alex. It's been great.
We appreciate you. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Double Shot with your favourite cousins, Alex and James Fitzgerald. If you've got a burning question or something we absolutely need to talk about on the pod, please write to us. Both of our emails are in the show notes. For little real estate tidbits and a little bit of banter, a lot of banter, you can follow us on the gram. Our handle is thedoubleshot.podcast. That, my friends, is thedoubleshot.podcast. Until next time, think of us when you sit back and sip your next double shot.